poet, the author, the essayist, Kate Braverman. She has written Frantic Transmissions to and from Los Angeles, an accidental memoir published by Grey Wolf Press. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, Connie.
And I knew you left the city of Los Angeles, but I didn't know all of the things that would transpire up in Allegheny, New York.
It was barely New York. It was 15 minutes from Pennsylvania, one wrong turn, and the border there is called Pentucky because of the incredible Appalachian poverty. It's the end of the Appalachians, the northernmost part, and it's a seventh generation underclass. People have not worked since the railroads.
Yeah. And this is where you, your husband, and teenage daughter go because he's going to be teaching at the college there. As you are too?
No, I was going to be a faculty wife and make dinner parties and go to the little theater in town, We Play House, and be an art student. I was a professional sophomore printmaking student for 3 years.
But prior to that, you had been teaching in colleges, and I do know the woman who wrote the White thanks you in her book because she'd been part of your students, Janet Fitch.
Mm-hmm. Those weren't just books that people took classes with. Those were 6-hour intensive writing workshops, and the books that came out of there to great acclaim were books that I directed.
Yeah.
Like, that character doesn't work, try a different character. So, in other words, those books were built by me.
Yeah. Well, they give you credit for that, I have to say, Kate. The other is this book now, after you go through that transition, you talk about friendship. And there's a wonderful passage here where you talk about on, I guess it's page 20, if you would read it, about the girls who have maintained this friendship through the years.
We are indigenous. We believe instinctively in ambushes and guerrilla actions. Here where palms lean, windswept and brazen. Farther inland, women stand in plazas, exposed in light mist remnants of dusks like powdered lilacs. They lean from tiny terraces. Their mouths form shapes you cannot decipher, and their lips turn night pewter. It is for this vertigo that we travel. Now the Ferris wheel on the pier is neon pink and electric calligraphy, simultaneously tawdry and alluring. Alchemy always promised such marriages of vulgarity and enchantment. As women of port cities have always done, we have sampled the wares the trade routes brought. Between us, we have nearly a century of psychotherapy, decades of graduate school, cycles of promiscuity and celibacy, yoga, rehab, relapse, AA, politics, and activism. We have learned the difference between pastimes and actual skills. We have acquired the information to garden, sail, play guitar, flute, ski, scuba dive, speak and read 4 languages. We have climbed the Great Wall of China, sat at the feet of the Sphinx, stood at the Wailing Wall, toured the Taj Mahal, Blue Mosque, beaches of Fiji and Bora Bora. We collect latitudes and longitudes the way other women might property and stock. This is our evidence, our proof. We communicate by postcard. We meet between Bombay and Bali after we psychologically remove the sting of the slap across the cheek and the split lip, which took decades of therapy. We went further. We surgically removed the jowls of our fathers. We have cheekbones and chins. When we look in the mirror, we no longer see the faces of the biological entities that called us trash and stupid sluts. We purchased porcelain crowns to encase feral yellow teeth that never saw orthodontists. We discovered our bones shed the protective, unnecessary flesh and exercise to retain our willed into existence forms.
Thank you. And any group of women of a certain age will identify their friendships with other women and that litany of what life has brought them.
Life has brought quite a litany if you have dared to live it as I have, if you have dared to demand total access to the page the way men have access to the page, if you have refused to behave conventionally on the page like a nurse or a secretary or a wife or a professor, if you've dared to engage in the same excesses that men are lionized for and called icons for and told that they cannot but live this life of the tormented mythic artist, that's fine if you're a male. But if you are a female and you engage in exploring your pharmacology, if you engage in sexual excess, if you engage in any adventures outside of going to the library and to soccer practice, you get locked in a mental hospital.
But you did give a try at that when you were being the faculty wife with the teenage daughter. And as we were talking earlier, because I had known your mother, how were you different as a mother?
From my mother?
Yeah.
Well, in every conceivable way, my mother was a monster. I'm sorry to tell you, if you hadn't gathered from Lithium for Medea or any of my short stories, my mother was profoundly defective. Narcissism is a killer disease, and it killed her, her narcissism. And so what I did with my daughter was allow her to individuate and not be crippled by my neuroses. For about 8 or 9 years, I had one answer to her question, how are you? Fine. I did not burden her with my neuroses.
Speaking of neuroses, there is a wonderful one of the essays here about Aunt Sarah. And Aunt Sarah, who deals with the family's neuroses and almost sort of says, you're the kid who did X, Y, and Z. She's marvelous. Was there a real Aunt Sarah?
No, this is not a book about, these are all collective voices that speak in a multiplicity of dialects. To get that Jewish stand-up comedy dialect in there, as in Uncle Irving's advice, was extremely difficult to write stand-up comedy for the page. And it's something women ordinarily don't do. And to try out as many different voices as this does to tell a complex historical, cultural history.
Then the last essay is just wonderful about a real estate person in Allegheny selling this now what was originally a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house that you had bought, and who Mrs. X and Dr. XY were, who are selling this house that is now 4 bedrooms, a heated pool, and for $169,000.
160.
Is what it sold for.
That is correct.
Yeah. Well, whoever bought it bargained down.
We were just happy to leave under any circumstances. We would have left for less.
That horrible?
Well, I found, like many people, I think, particularly in urban areas, there is this cultural idea we have of the mythic second life in a rural, beautiful environment with 4 seasons and a 14-room house and a 40-foot swimming pool and 100 acres and growing your own food that you eat and baking pies from your own fruit trees. And I found that I need more, that isolation like that, to be in a town of 400 people, where travel, the closest possible airport was an hour and a half away, when travel was possible, and that it starts to make you think small in your ambition, in how you look at the world, in your politics, in your sense of yourself. You become somehow disenfranchised from your own life.
Kate, in the brief time, would you just read, so again, the feel of your wonderful writing, the first 2 paragraphs here on page 111.
It's been more than 3 years since I left the city of my birth, only a native daughter, a woman who calls Los Angeles her hometown, could offer this confession. I was raised in Los Angeles, married and divorced there more than once. There I buried my father, mother, and recently my younger brother. I gave birth to my daughter there. You do the math. It's a city of subtraction and ash. In between, in Venice and Silver Lake, Westwood, West Hollywood, and Beverly Hills, I wrote 12 books. I stood on decades of late afternoon balconies, watching sunset in oranges brutally metallic and chiseled with inhuman glare. I thought my face would be scarred, and it was. Some psychological wounds are defining components, the way external elements are, how wind weathers skin and sun tightens flesh like cured leather.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
They will just get a taste of what is some of the beauty in this book, Kate. I
Thank you, Connie. 25 years of this.
It only gets better. And we should say you're no longer a daughter of Los Angeles. San Francisco claims you. But one never knows. Meanwhile, will you autograph my book?
With the greatest pleasure, Connie.
Thank you.
We've been doing this little ritual here for 25 years now, and I do appreciate it.
If you would like a copy of our newsletter, Good Books, send me a stamped, self-addressed envelope to Good Books, P.O. Box 69, 1640, Los Angeles, California, 90069. Look for our column in the Beverly Hills Courier. For us on the web at www.conniemartinson.com or email us at talksbooks@lycos.com. We'll tell you about some other books we've liked recently. Support your local library. Go in, take out a card, take a child with you. They will never forget you. And while you're there, look up some of Kate's other books.
Could I mention my web, www.katebraverman.com?
Of course you may. And if you want, go there. Go to your library, though. Take that child with you. They never forget you. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Connie, a pleasure.
Thank you.